Yo guys, and welcome to this last SPL video for the tiebreaker against Ojama in ADV OU. Hope you will enjoy this one, and I'll move to the team building right away. Yo, so here we are to talk about the team building. I'll start by something pretty important. We both agreed we would play without spikes for the game. It's a decision that some people didn't appreciate, and I can understand, but yeah, we decided to go for it. We both think spikes is kind of limiting the tier, is very strong, and yeah, we just don't really enjoy it. Anyway, not really trying to defend the decision, and I would understand if you guys didn't like it, but yeah, that's something to keep in mind because it influences the team a lot, and you'll understand. Well, I mean, you can already see it at tip preview that this team kind of crumbled to spikes, but yeah. Anyway, regarding what I brought, I had a lot of ideas, especially in this spikesless meta, and I decided to go with this one because it was a bit offensive. I have a lot of options between Snorlax, Metagross. I have 2 booms so I can open holes. I have Salamence to also get some nice damages, and Sumpert. Well, Sumpert is Curse Spirit, which means it's a nice win condition as well. And what I liked about this team is that I basically have 2 special sponge between Snorlax and Blissey, 2 water. I like having 2 water types because you can afford losing one to something like Boom for Metagross. So you still have the other one for stuff like Tyranitar or Salamence. And Metagross and Salamence both have a lot of great resistances. You have Intimidate to play around physical sweepers, and you can back everything up with Wish from Vaporeon if it comes down to it. So yeah, very solid team. Kind of, if you recognize it, it's kind of based on that old Earthworm team that has the same basis with Magneton over Blissey and Claydol over Sumpert, which make a lot more sense in a normal metagame with spikes. Anyway, let's start to talk about the Pokemon individually. First off, I have Snorlax. I mean, just standard Snorlax. Well, not the standard. I run Boom and Counter. I really like Counter in general on Snorlax because, well, it's hard to. Most Pokemon most people won't try to take it out with special attackers. It won't work anyway, and if you get a nice Counter and surprise 1-2 against Metagross or Tyranitar, that's a free kill, and then you have Boom for another kill. So you can trade 2 for 1, and I like that. Decided to go without Shadow Ball because since there were no spikes in the meta, I was not really expecting to freeze Gengar. It's a lot less carrier without spikes to back it up. Suddenly you realize that it doesn't hit as hard as you would like, and even if I run into Gengar, it's not a big deal in my opinion with the spikes anyway. Doesn't hit too hard. So that's a decision I took, and yeah, everything else is standard. The spread is pretty bulky, but yeah, I still use quite a bit of attacks. I didn't want to hit like a wet noodle. So yeah. Next up, Salamence. Choice band Jolly. Decided to go with Jolly because the Blissey, just gonna show it real quick, doesn't run a status or Calmite, which means some Calmiters can get out of Vent. And especially something like Super Jirachi or Super Celebi, as in CM3 attacks. I don't want them to set up and not be able to control them. And Salamence can get the tie or would speed them in case they didn't invest in everything or run HP fire like Celebi. And that's a solution to keep them in control. Also, in a metagame without spikes, which means Skarmory and Gengar would be worse, Heracross looked really good, and I definitely wanted an Heracross check. Didn't think I would go into this game without one. So Salamence felt kind of mandatory in some form. Also, Jolly can be useful to speed +1 Charata, since most of them don't run Jolly and run Adamant. And they usually max out at 300 or like 310 at +1, so you can outspeed and get the kill with Brick Break. Next up, Meta Growth. With HP Grass, without Skarmory, HP Grass felt like the natural move to run on it, because you get to beat up on Sompert with it. And yeah, otherwise it's pretty standard. Just brings Boom to the table. Just like if I were to face offense, I had a lot of tools between I mean counter Snorlax and Vaporeon being pretty obnoxious, even Blissey. And if I were to run into something more defensive, I knew I could create openings by booming with Metagross and Snorlax on the right Pokemons. So yeah. Next up, Blissey. Without spikes, special attackers can have a lot of opportunities to set up from full, which means they are pretty dangerous. So I decided to go with this Blissey to check them. Also, I wanted to run Aromather Heal Bealer in general. It just felt really nice in a more defensive meta like I was expecting, especially against Ojama, because I know Ojama love to run status in general. Especially stuff like Toxic Titar or Toxic Metagross, and I didn't want him to put everything on the timer with random Toxic or T-Wave, and so I could heal them with Blissey, especially for Vaporeon, because Vaporeon is very good without status. If it gets Toxic, it's kind of neutered, and if it gets paralyzed, it has a hard time checking some of the stuff it's supposed to check. In this case, Cursolax, for example. So yeah, decided to go with Counter instead of Ice Beam or a status. The reason why is that even with max special attack modest, there is a chance this Blissey could still be trapped by Duck Trio, and Counter allows me to not be trapped by Duck Trio and still be a nice surprise just in case I would get to use it. And that's why I decided to go with it. And I also felt like I didn't really need Ice Beam or a status, because I had Snorlax to check the CMers, 2 Calm Miners. Anyway, that's it. Next up, Vaporeon. Very nice Pokemon. In this team, it's an amazing Suicune counter. I wanted to run something with Ace because I know, like, in the spikeless meta, I know Ojama in general, fat Pokemons like CM-Kun or Cursolax, or even something like, mainly thinking of these two, would have been very strong and very intimidating late game, and Ace allows me to beat them in every kind of situation, to keep them under control. Yeah, I really like the option of Ace for this game. Otherwise it's pretty standard. Also, Vaporeon would otherwise struggle with the spikes or status, but between the fact that we decided to not play that, to have a soft ban on spikes, and Aromatherapy Blissey, I knew Vaporeon could stick around and do Vaporeon things. And in the last lot, Snorlax, so I have a sturdy rock resist just in case Metagross get trapped or has to boom early. And yeah, it's a nice check to just a lot of stuffs in general. Also, it gives me a win conditions in the long run with Curse. I didn't need Ice Beam. Don't think I needed Ice Beam. HP Rock does the same things anyway, kind of. And yeah. Also, I decided to go with HP Rock because, well, just an advice I would give to anyone wanting to run Curse Support. Use HP Rock instead of Rock Slide. You have more PPs. You're gonna be slower than everything with the Curse anyway, so you don't need the flinch chance most of the time. And the PP is actually pretty important. Also, you don't miss. So yeah, I would definitely advise for HP Rock. And yeah, that's it for the team. Very defensive, and as you can see, wouldn't work in a Spikes meta. Just saying, this team wouldn't work. Spikes would. Skarmory would have free roam on too much Pokemon, and with Spikes up, it would just slowly die out. So yeah, I kind of abused that fact, but I knew. I mean, I didn't expect to have a lot of win either. Ojama was gonna be well prepared for a tough game. So yeah, let's get into it now. Just checking if I didn't forget to mention anything. No, that's fine. Alright, let's move to the game. And here we are for my final game of this SPL. Just gonna mention that that was the second game of the tiebreaker. Tamaho won the first one in Sun and Moon against Streaking, which means if I won this one, I would seal the deal for the team and the tournament. And I was very motivated to win, especially against Ojama, who I respect a lot as a player. And also because I've been in this situation in the past playing for a SPL tiebreaker and I completely missed my shot. It was an awful game. So yeah, I wanted to kind of redeem myself and bring my level and bring a good game. So yeah, anyway, let's start, let's get into it. So I lead Snorlax, he leads Zapdos. I liked lead Snorlax, I didn't mention it in Teambuilding, but lead Snorlax is pretty solid against everything, especially with counter because you can stay in the face of Charmander and Metagross and counter everything they can throw at you for a kill. So yeah, he leads Zapdos. Zapdos running away for Celebi. I show Body Slam, doing a 33, getting a paralysis. Celebi obviously was gonna be used from Ojama. I guess like it's something he likes a lot, and especially in a metagame without spikes, it gets even better. Yeah, definitely something to expect. As you can see also from the team, if you remember it, Celebi kind of a tough cookie to break. Definitely gonna need to boom on this one with Metagross Snorlax if he runs the cover, otherwise I'm never gonna kill it. Anyway, since he got paralyzed, he switches to Metagross on his own. I get to quit with Body Slam, but it doesn't do much. Did 22. So yeah. He goes back to Celebi, and I reveal counter right away. Honestly, looking back at it, I probably should have done it because his Metagross were leftovers. So, like, it was safe. It was safe to assume that I would switch to something like Samprat of Vaporeon. Like, I mean, he would expect a Metagross switch, and knowing Ojama and his love for Toxic Metagross, he would have used Toxic if he decided to stay in. He didn't even stay in. He switched out anyway to Celebi, and I kind of waited my counter. I felt like the payout would be huge because if he decided to Meteor Marsh for some reason, maybe expecting me to run offense, which means Meteor Marsh switching can be kind of weak, I guess, can be kind of frail. If he decided to Meteor Mash, it would be big for me to get that kill. But yeah, honestly, looking back at it, it was kind of the. I mean, I don't think would have done it. So I probably maybe should have kept a counter to reveal it in a better position later. Anyway, he goes back to Celebi. I decide to use Body Slam, but I mean, yeah, I'm just trying to fish or something. No reason to switch anyway. Not like I have a great switching. I switch out Metagross Descent because, well, I mean, there was no point in switching on the lead sheet because nothing on my team can beat Celebi if it's lead sheet. So now I decide to switch out and use lead sheet again. Again, Metagross. So I know I'm not gonna beat it. I double to Snorlax because I want to get rid of the lead seed. I mean, at least, like, the Celebi, even if I have a tough time killing it, I'm wasting. He has to lead seed to beat some of my stuff. And so I can actually, it's a game plan to waste the lead seed. It's only 16 PPs after all. And if he's out of it, he's gonna have a tough time checking Metagross. So yeah, I decided to go to Snorlax on Celebi. It covered the Zapdos switch and also covered Celebi staying in. It T-Wave on the Snorlax and it takes a Body Slam for 41, nice damages. And the Thunder Wave could be annoying, but at the same time I don't mind it because I know I'm probably gonna have a shot at using Aromatherapy later. So it goes back to Celebi. I use Body Slam again. I don't really have anything to pressure Celebi, so sadly, like, I can't double on Celebi as I expect him to come in. He listed on the Snorlax. So yeah, not gonna beat it. This game is kind of a snooze fest at the beginning, but yeah, don't worry, progress will be made. Zapdos is already getting weakened. So good switch from him. Good switch from him. He covered the Metagross switch in to remove the lead seed, and he gets some leftovers back on the on Zapdos. I don't really want to switch Snorlax on a T-Bolt, to be fair, so I go to Blissey this time. So far he showed T-Wave and T-Bolt. Something to keep in mind. So he goes Celebi on the Blissey. I mean, there is not much more to fear from him. I take a lead seed to the face. I just Seismic Toss. I mean, I'm just getting some damage. I know he's gonna heal back, but not much I can do. I'm just wasting the lead shield at this point. So that's fine. He leeches again. He already used the bench. They're definitely not gonna last all the game at this pace. So now he Calm Minds again. I mean, it doesn't have much to fear. My only solution to kill this Celebi is pretty much to boom, but I can keep it in check between Ace Vaporeon and I can also keep it in check defensively with Ace Vaporeon. That's what I'm trying to say. So Eagles Metagross probably wanted to get some leftovers back. I go to my whole Metagross. He's faster than me, as you can see. Got the leftovers recovery faster than me. So knowing that, he decides to Earthquake. Great for him because just in case he gets a crit, he gets to kill the Metagross, which is big. So no point for me to stay in if I'm slower. I don't want to risk the crit because I need the boom, especially with Celebi. So I go to Vaporeon instead. And if you remember what I said in Teambuilding, he loves Toxic Metagross and he decided to rebuild it. And that's exactly why I decided to run a Heal Builder. I knew that I would run Vaporeon. I would need to check something like Tyranitar Metagross with it, and if I would catch a Toxic, it would be bad, so I can remove the status. Got some nice damages. Expecting the Zapdos switch, I decided to switch out. I think it's a good time to use Aromatherapy to remove the Toxic from Vaporeon and the Paralysis from Snorlax. And he reveals Toxic on his own, so let's talk about it a little bit. He's shown that he has Toxic, Thunder Wave, and T-Bolt. And from his past SPL game, I've seen him run this kind of Zapdos with Rest in the last slot. I mean, it could be... the last slot could be Rest, Idle Power, I guess. I was expecting Rest at this point because it's something he likes, and it kind of makes sense because going into this game without spikes, you know, it might be against a drag zone, so you can recover your HPs lost with Rest. Also, with Toxic, you can hit all the grounds like Sampert and Flygon, so you don't really need the Idle Power. I mean, it's appreciated, but you don't need it. So yeah, I'm expecting Rest at this point. Just mentioning my thought process. So I get some nice damages. If I can put it to Rest, it's always useful, but yeah. I can already see that his team is gonna be tough to break. Currently, but like I said, I have two boom options, so just need to not waste my boom basically. Anyway, now that I'm Toxic, I'm gonna have to switch at some point. I decided to reveal Sampert because, like I said, I'm not expecting Idle Power from him. And if he Toxic the Sampert, it's not a big deal because I have Aromatherapy anyway. So it goes back to Celebi. We are not really a lot of progress being made so far. His Pokemon are still healthy, although Zapdos that's 50 actually. So yeah, I'm getting this down. My team is fairly healthy. Got to remove all the status thanks to Aromatherapy. And yeah, I'm like his Leech Seed PPs are vanishing too. So yeah, that's a progress being made. It doesn't seem apparent, but it's there. So as you can see, Celebi is very tanky. Meteor Mash only did 46 from max special attack Metagross, and with Leech Seed and Recover, I'm not getting past that unless I get a boost. So yeah, he combines again. Now the Celebi at +2, kind of annoying. He leeches the Blissey. I can't do anything. I don't even have a status to force it out. So yeah, now that he's boosting, and he's at +2 already. So I don't really like. I could haze it, but If he gets a crit, it would be very annoying. So I go to Metagross. Is recover and probably psychic or HP grass, probably psychic. So yeah, Metagross doesn't mind anything, get thrown. Now it's at +3. And I decide it's time to boom. I decide to boom for a lot of reasons, but mainly because, well, it's at +3, so I don't want it to get out of control. And also, Celebi blocks my whole team, and it's a very sturdy Swampert counter. So if I can remove it, that's something out of the way for Swampert. He goes Metagross. I was kind of expecting Metagross at this point because based on what I showed, I mean, it seems pretty obvious that I don't have a good boom switching. So it might take. No, actually, I have Protect Vaporeon. I just went Snorlax because I think it just felt safe against anything. So he goes Meta against Snorlax, and at this point, I know he's not gonna mash. He's not gonna mash because I showed counter. Meteor Mash wouldn't kill. I would get the kill with counter. And I'm definitely expecting boom, but at the same point I have nothing to switch on boom, since Metagross is now dead. If he booms, something is gonna die. And yeah, so I decide to sack the Snorlax, not keep it around. I felt like everything else was better, because I had no idea what would be in the back. But couldn't really lose Salamence, because if he reveals a Calminder like Jirachi or Celebi, no, not Celebi, but he reveals a Calminder like Jirachi, I definitely feel like I need Salamence to keep it in check. Because Blissey on the Seismic Toss, so yeah. If he run Super Rachi, for example, so yeah. Also, if he had Heracross in the back, I needed Salamence too. So didn't feel like losing Heracross. I need Blissey because I wouldn't feel safe against special chakras with only some Snorlax as a switch. And I like both waters at this point. I need Ace Vaporeon just in case he has Suicune 2. Could maybe get rid of Swampert, but at the same time that's my only rock resist left now that Metagross boomed down. Use boom, so if he has Tornado in the back, I would definitely need that rock resist too. So yeah, I felt like Swampert was the most expendable member, based on the information I had at least. It was kind of hard to decipher what would be the last 3 Pokemon, based on what is showed so far. So yeah, I go Swampert, he goes Zapdos. I go Blissey, didn't want to take the Toxic yet. HP Rock isn't gonna do too much. So E.T. Bolt, and I go Seismic Toss, pretty sure, yeah. Getting some nice damages. We'll see if he has Rest pretty soon, he still hasn't used it, but yeah, I'm still expecting Rest. He reveals his own Swampert, as I soft-boiled. He reveals his own Swampert, makes sense. I go to Vaporeon, and he shows Curse, so yeah. Pretty glad I got to I brought Ace to the game. I was definitely expecting something fat like Suicune or Cursolax. I decided to go with Cursor Parrot instead, which makes a lot of sense in this Spiceless metagame. We both had the same idea, I guess, and I know he isn't gonna win with it thanks to Haze, even if he's the last Pokemon standing. And I show it right away. Don't wanna risk an Earthquake crit or something like that by not using her Haze. And he reveals Porygon 2. He told me after the game that he was definitely expecting the trio from me, so that's why he brought P2. I wished on the Swampert, so I have a free C. P2 is actually a bit annoying, because like with Toxic it beats Vaporeon, it forced Blissey out, but I have Swampert with Rest to beat it, so it's fine. So yeah, Swampert is actually looking good at this point, because his checks are a Zapdos with Toxic, but I have Rest, and I'm not. Since I'm expecting Rest, I don't expect the Zapdos to be able to hit my Swampert. Swampert with easily beat the Porygon 2, and against his own Swampert, well, I have a Curse Vaporeon, I have my Vaporeon, but if it comes down to it, yeah, that's not something, like, I still have a shot in the game if it comes down to a Curse Support world, because it's whoever gets the crit first win the game. So I say it's Big Toss on the Switch. My plan against Porygon 2 was just to waste the Toxic with Blissey, thanks to Natural Cure and Swampert. I go to Vaporeon as he doubles to Snorlax. Good move on his part, he's getting leftovers back too. So I go Blissey, he Toxics and miss. Makes sense for him to Toxic at this point, but not like I have a better switching. Don't want the Swampert to get Toxic for no reason. I don't need it. If I can just waste the Toxic with Blissey, which will heal with Natural Cure, might as well. So he goes P2. As you can see, this game is very slow paced, but yeah, progress has been made since we both used our boom and load them. And at this point, he probably thinks he has like, so far, he has nothing to really beat me. And I have Vaporeon to cockblock him and Swampert to try something out. Also, let's not forget that I have Counter on the table with Blissey, which might be able to surprise kill the Swampert. So yeah, against Porygon 2, I went Swampert on the recover and back to Blissey on the Toxic so I can waste his Toxic PPs. As you can see from my team, it's a strategy to just waste moves like Toxic or Leech Seed, so yeah, I'm going for that. Just wasting the Toxic, switching back and forth between Blissey and Swampert. I don't even mind the freeze because I can just Aromatherapy. He goes Zapdos. I don't know why he did that. Probably wants to get some herbs back with leftovers. So yeah, just gonna mention that one of the drawback, I guess, from not using spikes, because Pokemon gets free passive recovery with leftovers, but that's because also none of us brought Tyranitar. That's a big deal too. If you bring Tyranitar, you can make a lot of progress just with sand damage considering leftovers. But in this game, yeah, there is none of that. So I go back to Parrot. I think things are gonna get set into motion real soon, I remember. Just still wasting the Toxic at this point. As soon as he's out of Toxic with Porygon 2, I can just set up on it freely with Swampert. So I'm gonna do that. But I don't need to wait for it. I'm just wasting the Toxic, like it can be useful. If anything, actually, like wasting the Toxic is better for Vaporeon because Swampert does rest anyway. But if he doesn't have any Toxic left, then he can even beat Vaporeon with the P2. So it can be useful late game. So that's the moment I decide to reveal Curse as he goes to his home Swampert. He now goes to Zapdos. And I think he went to Zapdos because, well, first thing off, he didn't want to risk a crit from Earthquake, probably. Also, he might have thought that my last move on Swampert was a Ice Beam, which is still a thing on Curse Support in general because you need the instant damage against Salamence types, and Ice Beam wouldn't do much against as a book is Zapdos, especially if he has Rest, he can actually PP Starlit with pressure. So he goes Zapdos on the Earthquake, getting some nice health back. He shows Toxic, and the fact that he used Toxic in this position confirms me in my thought that he has Rest in the last slot. So yeah, HP Rock can do 48, and now Zapdos is close to be killed, and yeah. So I'm expecting Rest at this point, and I feel like since he's Rest, he's probably gonna rest up now. Because at this range, he can't really switch in on Seismic Toss, for example. So he's probably gonna rest now if he has it. And I decide I'm gonna put some more pressure on him because if I curse a game, he will be in 2-shot range from HP Rock, and my Earthquake are gonna do some really great damages against its own Sunbird and his own Porygon, against its Sunbird and Porygon too. So I decide to cruise, and that's where he reveals HP Grass. And Ojama played like very great. He did a very great job at hiding the HP Grass until it would pay off to the most of it. And honestly, I mean, I think the reason why I cruised made sense, because I wanted to pressure the Sunbird and Porygon 2. I was expecting West based on the way he played it, especially with the Toxic on turn 54, sorry. And I think it made sense, but at the same time, maybe it was kind of greedy. Maybe I should have just killed the Zapdos if I had the opportunity, just in case it wasn't West. It wasn't a given either, I guess. And it was still at 26, so it couldn't. It's at low house. It can't really switch comfortably on Blissey or even Vaporeon. So yeah, maybe kind of greedy, to be fair. Or at least maybe should have rested to get rid of the Toxic. Instead, I used Cruise, which was definitely the worst move in this position, I guess, because now my Sunbird is at 20 and Toxic, so I can, for example, I can switch on Porygon 2, which is very kind of annoying. So, good play on his part here. He double switched to his Sunbird, expecting the Blissey. So now he gets to put some pressure on me. Like, I know the Sunbird can come back to life because I can get rid of the status with Aromatherapy. If I double on Sunbird, at some point I'm gonna get 6% every time with leftovers, and I can just rest up on the Porygon 2 by either switching on a Toxic or just sending it after a kill and resting up. So yeah. So here I go Blissey, and look, I think here I did some great play because I'm just gonna go back one turn. So here Ojama does a great play. He expects the Blissey switch in on Zapdos. He goes back. He goes to a Sunbird, and he knows that basically I'm gonna need to get rid of the Toxic. So he decides to cross up, and I definitely expected this play from him. Because, look, by staying in with Blissey and using Aromatherapy, I kind of show him that I kind of condition him into using Earthquake, because I know that at this point he has no real way to break my team. He knows that I can just start the Porygon 2 and everything, and I know that knowing Ojama, I know that Ojama at this point is gonna try to cruise on Blissey, expecting me to Aromatherapy. And if he gets to be at +1 because I didn't switch in Vaporeon, which is what happened because I decided to stay in, he has a chance to pressure Vaporeon on the next turn by using Earthquake and getting a critical hit. Because at this point, that's one of his main option to break me. If he gets a crit on the switch on Vaporeon, I can haze safely, and he can pressure me, and he can get a kill and open the way for something like just taking a big advantage for him. So I decide to put him in this thought process, and now I know that, like, by doing that, I know he's gonna Earthquake, he's gonna fish for something against Vaporeon, and I think it's the perfect time to reveal counter, because, and see, that's exactly what happens. I get to remove Sunbird out of the game, thanks to this little place. I think that was pretty good, to be fair. It was nice. It was nice mental conditioning. I guess I got him back for what he did with my Sunbird, with his Zapdos, because he conditioned me into thinking it wasn't HP Grass, and then he revealed it at the perfect time, and as a retaliation, I waited for the perfect opportunity to reveal counter by manipulating him with Blissey. So now with Sunbird out of the way, I know that my own Sunbird, if I somehow manage to heal him, which isn't impossible, can win the game, because Zapdos is low, it's at 32. If I can catch him on the switch with the HP Rock, it will work. And yeah, I have ways to win. The thing is, it would need the last that I can't check, but between Vaporeon and that full with Ace, You would need to be able to set up on Blissey, which isn't a big deal because I only have, which isn't hard, I guess, since I only have seismictors. And I still have also a fast man in the back to check what he has in the last slot. And he reveals Salamence. Salamance's actually one of the few Pokemon that can be annoying in this position. Yeah, like, I mean, if it was DD tie, it would have been annoying too, I guess. But Vaporeon is pretty sturdy as long as it doesn't get flinched and is weak to surf. Salamence on the other end is resistant, so kind of annoying. So I can't let him go out of end with DD. It's definitely going to be DD at this point. Wouldn't make sense. Anything else wouldn't make sense. Maybe choice band, but if it choice band, it's definitely not a problem. So I go to my own Salamence because I get to intimidate. And yeah, I know he can't kill me at this point, like with the intimidate. So yes, his Salamence against mine. And I think my thought process is basically get the intimidate first, so it's at +0. And I'm gonna get to rock slide off because with a rock slide off, I know I won't kill, especially Ojama because Ojama loves bulk, this Pokemon in general. So, but I know I'm gonna put Salamence at like what, maybe 15, 20, 25 maybe after leftovers. And basically I want to put Salamence at a range where it can't set up on Blissey anymore later in the game, because I know I can force out the Salamence with Vaporeon afterwards. And yeah, and like even +1 rock slide has a low chance to kill, like doesn't have a 100% chance to kill my own Salamence. So yeah, I can even afford to stay in if it comes down to it. So yeah, that's my thought process. Also, by weakening the Salamence with a rock slide here, I also put him in a threatening range for Surface from Vaporeon, because at full, like, Surf is gonna do very little, but it's still gonna out-damage leftovers. But if I put it at like 15 or 25, I can actually spam Surf with Vaporeon and both threaten to kill Mance or even Zapdos on the switch, and only leaving Porygon to as an option. So he goes DD again, makes sense. I guess Rock Slide was an option because it's a 2KO and he gets the free chance, but yeah, DD is fine either because Rock Slide isn't gonna kill. And here, very, very, very big deal in my opinion. I miss Rock Slide. Very annoying. I mean, now the problem is the Salamence at +1, which means it's kind of tricky to switch in, because HP Fly is gonna do nice damages to Vaporeon, and he's at full horse too. So between leftovers and the fact that he's resistant to Surf, and that Blissey can't do much against it, very big miss here. I have to rethink everything I have to rethink my game plan. So I feel like I know he isn't max attack, or maybe even if he's max attack, I can tank Rock Slide. I don't remember the exact calc, but knowing Ojama is probably not max attack anyway. So expecting Rock Slide to not kill, I just go for the Rock Slide again because at +2, I just want to see the damage. I guess, I don't know. I'll get back on this later anyway. Rock Slide again. As you can see, it did nice damages, and it's a very bulky DD in true Ojama fashion. So now I go to Vaporeon. He Rock Slide because at +2 it definitely kills. It does 40 to Vaporeon. I'm definitely in HP Flyer range, but the thing is, if I protect here, I can be out of range, and I can also go to my own Mance for the Intimidate. So the thing, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go back one turn. I just remember that at the time, I felt like Ace was definitely not, I would definitely not Ace. Like, he was definitely not gonna expect it. That's what I mean. And if Protect can put me out of, sorry, I had to drink something. If Protect can put me out of HP Fly range, I feel like he's gonna, I need to Protect to stay in the game basically, and I feel like he's gonna cement his position by just DDing again, and I just want to, like, I'm in such a bad position at this point that I just want to go all out, I guess, and just straight A's on the DD, which felt safe for him. Because, oh, shit. It was 240, 64, I think, something like that, yeah. I just gonna explain. I felt like DD was safe for him because even if I aced, like, he gets leftovers where I have to recover myself with Wish Protect, and he can still pressure me even with a crit, so I felt like DD was safe. And I just wanted to play aggressively at this point because I felt like he would abuse this position. So I went with Ace straight away. He just used Hidden Power. So I killed Vaporeon. I get by doing this too, by not switching Salamence on the HP fly for the Intimidate, I have my own Salamence at full, and with the Intimidate, I know that I can't tank the Rock Slide. I don't know his exact attack investment, but I'm definitely sure it's not. Well, not sure, but with the damage from Rock Slide, I'm expecting his own mans to not be max attack. So I know I have a chance to switch to take the Rock Slide, and I don't take it, so he kills the Salamence, and now he wins the game. I know, like, at this point, if I kill the Salamence, I could still win. It would have been hard though. If I kill the Salamence, it would have been hard. Like, even if I kill the Salamence, it would have been hard because he has Toxic P2 and Toxic Zapdos. With Toxic P2, he basically forces out Blissey to switch at some point, and I have to switch as he doesn't Ice Beam, otherwise he kills the Salamence. But yeah, it was definitely still doable. But now it's over. So I think, honestly, I had a real great shot if my first Rock Slide missed. Hit. Yeah, he finished. I'm just gonna go back to explain some thought of mine. Okay, on the turn Rock Slide miss. So on the turn 60, at this point, as you can see, when he's DD, I think, like, I'm just gonna mention two scenarios. The first one is that okay, if Rock Slide hit here, I think it's not over, but I think I'm in a really great position because with Salamence only done at like 30% considering leftovers, like, it's hard for him to win because his win condition being Salamence, he will have a hard time setting up again by being at 30 because he can't set up on Blissey anymore, and he can't really set up on Vaporeon either because of Surf out-damaging leftovers thanks to Vaporeon nice special attack. So that's why it was a very big deal. I honestly thought that I had the game at this point. And here I'm also gonna mention the other thing. I think I misplayed here too because when I missed the first Rock Slide, I should have let go of my ID that I needed damage on the Salamence. I should have just went to my own Vaporeon instead of going for the second Rock Slide. Should have just went to Vaporeon and just limit the damage, you know, because it was probably not gonna HP fly. Well, he could have done it, but even if he HP fly Vaporeon on the switch, it's not 2 KO, I think, at +1 only, because he's already at +1 anyway, when you think about it. So it's not a 2 KO, and I can keep it under control, and even if his mans is at full, at least the situation is salvageable. I still have all my tools, he still has his, of course, but yeah, it's salvageable. So I definitely should have gone Vaporeon, I think. Because when you think about it, I still had opportunities to win the game with Salamence later. If I can get in on the switch at some point, for example on Zapdos as the HP Grass or on his own Salamence, if I predict right, I can take something out. Brick will 2 KO Porygon too, so I can double as he switches out. Zapdos is low. Salamence is annoying actually, but yeah, I'm just saying I have ways to win, just even if I go to my Vaporeon. So I probably should have done that instead of going for the roll with his own Salamence. I'm just gonna calc it. I'm gonna open the calc and see ADV. Yeah, Salamence. Mine was Jolly, Cold for Goons, I think that this one. Alright, so Rock Slide. So they're taking Intimidate, but it was a +1, so I'm just gonna put it +2. Okay, so it's +1 for max attack adamant. Actually, it's a flat out kill, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't max attack. So yeah, let's, for example, take something Ojama would use, just random. I mean, it still had good chance, yeah. It just felt like maybe should have played the ending a bit differently, although it was gonna be hard anyway. Yeah, that was like that Rock Slide me is definitely threw me off, I guess. Definitely should have gone for Provian instead and salvage the situation. And so yes, that's it. I ended up losing this game. I think it was very fun. It was kind of slow paced, especially at the beginning, but then we both played our card very well. Him with Zapdos by managing to put the sampler at low hearts, and me with Blissey to kill his own sampler too. And then I guess this Rock Slide sealed an otherwise close game. Also, I think that there is not much else to mention about this game. If you have any questions, as usual, leave them in the comments or on my McMeghan profile. Also gonna take this opportunity to talk a bit about the video series, because that was the last game for SPL as far as I'm concerned. So I have no more video prepared. If you have anything you would like me to talk about or make a video about, let me know. I'm not saying I will do it, but I will at least consider it, because I have no plans for now. I have no plans to upload more videos. I can do it, it's just that I have nothing really set in stone for me. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this SPL mini series, that you learned a bit some things or two, or just liked the games and the explanations that I brought up. And until next time, see you around on Smoke Shows and SmokOn or whatever else, Discord, whatever. And enjoy yourself, keep having fun, all that jazz, and see ya.